So we've got a couple of things to talk about today. We're going to touch on, in this video, we're going to touch on the Burnley game. And we're going to ask a question, is it a choice between the Premier League and Europe? I also want to touch on David Moyes' comment about Antonio after the game where he said he needs to score, talking about that last chance and talking about Antonio in general. We also saw the return of Carlos Tevez, returning hero, and then a worrying injury to Issa Diop at the end. Or is it? So anyway, please give the video a watch, and if you like what you see, please subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification icon and give us a like. So on to the first thing, looking back at the Burnley game. The Burnley game was a very strange game, and it started off with the very strange appearance of Carlos Tevez, out on the pitch. Well done to the club for bringing him there because it gave everybody a lift. I was a bit fearful that after the excitement of Thursday night, there might be maybe the crowd would be a little bit, how can I say, muted. But it wasn't like that. It was a very happy party atmosphere over there, and it just topped it off to see Carlos Tevez come out and do the "Come on, you irons." That's about the extent of his English, I think. But anyway, we know what he meant. I think he could still do a job as well. I think he still looks in shape. I think he can do a better job than many of our other strikers. So anyway, on to the game. Burnley. Now, going into this game, obviously, it's one we had to win, right? We had to win it because the results went our way for the second week running. And the game started off very slow tempo, similar to the previous games that we've seen after the Europa League. This time, after about 10 minutes, we did take control, and we were genuinely really good for about the next 10 minutes, where we had a couple of shots at goal. Cresswell was stopped on the line. Slightly, if he had put that shot slightly either side of the defender who just happened to be standing there, I think that's a goal. Bowen as well. He had 2 bites of the cherry, but the second bite was actually particularly good. Fired into the top right-hand corner, and Nick Pope did what he did all game, just flew across like a man possessed and pushed it away. It might have been a save for the cameras, actually. I don't think it was quite as difficult as he made it look. But anyway, then the injury happened. Very serious injury to Ashley Westwood, and as soon as he went down, you saw the reaction of the players, especially ours. I mean, Nikola Vlasic was down on his knees, looked like he was clutching his face, looked like he was in tears. So it must have been one of those where perhaps the foot is facing the wrong way or something like that. It had to be one of those real graphic, horrible injuries to get a reaction like that. And sad to see, horrible to see, and I think it shook us up in the stands a little bit, seeing the reaction like that. I was thinking, my God, it must be bad. And he went off. He went off on the golf buggy, and he got a round of applause from both sets of fans, deservedly so. Nobody likes to see that happen to a player. Absolutely horrible. And I hope he gets well. I hope it's not as bad as it first seemed. But the odds are it is. Moving forward, I mean, straight after Westwood was carted off, there was the same medical team from both sides actually were called into the main stand to attend to a fan who I don't know what happened, but it was a very hot day over there yesterday, and someone was called into. They were called into the main stand to take care of somebody. I don't know if they'd fainted or something like that, but anyway, that seemed to blow over quite quickly, and then the game restarted, and by now it'd been stopped about 10 minutes. The game restarted, and immediately everybody in my end, in the Bobby Moore lower, they were kind of pointing towards a guy a few rows down from me. I don't know who it was or what happened, but they were beckoning the same medical staff. So the game stopped again, and the medical staff came into the Bobby Moore lower, and then they seemed to just go away again, so I don't know whether it was a false alarm or whether they dealt with the person really quickly or the person was taken away. I don't know. I couldn't see. But either way, it was a day of sort of freak injury occurrences yesterday, topped off by a steward. So I'm in the Bobby Moore lower. This steward was in the far left-hand corner of the pitch as I'm looking at it. There was one point in the first half where he's come on, tried to kick the ball back to a player, and literally gone over on his ankle. And apparently, I mean, he got a great big cheer because he collapsed. He was doing one of those comedy steward moments. But apparently he had to be helped off afterwards because he'd broken his ankle. So just another freak occurrence in a very freaky game. And after the game resumed, and this is something that Moyes picked on after the game, he said, we've got to be more professional than that because we turned off. And I think everybody was there could see that. We absolutely did turn off. We turned off. Burnley turned on. Now they could have been galvanised by the fact that their mate had been seriously injured or something like that, but almost immediately the game kicked off, they were on it and we were not. And it felt like a matter of time. They were opening us up. They got a relatively lucky goal because that Jay Rodriguez header that hit the bar could have gone anywhere, right? It could have, but instead it went straight up in the air, come straight down and dropped onto the head of the biggest player on the pitch who barely had to jump to nod it in. So it's one of those days where, perhaps they got a little bit of luck, deserved luck after that bad injury. And then, within a few minutes, Ben Johnson has done something ridiculous. He's gone forward past the halfway line. He's passed to a Burnley player. Hasn't even considered that there's a runner behind him in that corner. And he didn't react fast enough. And anyway, Cornet was quicker than him. The ball was played through. He ran onto it. Was brought down by Fabianski. And at this point, we're thinking, this is the tipping point, right? This is the point where we either lose the game or we get a chance to come back into it. And thank God he made a right dog's dinner of the penalty, because he did. He'd done one of those stuttered run-ups, which 9 times out of 10, unless someone is really brimming with confidence, it does more to put the player off than it does to put the keeper off. Anyway, he smashed it wide and we celebrated, and we're thinking, oh, well, we're only 1 goal down going into half time. This is fine. And so it proved, really. Going into the second half, we came out, reorganised, full of momentum again, pushing forward. Burnley did everything they could to cling on, but it still took us until 17 minutes before the end for Souček to score off his shoulder. A relatively lucky goal, but at least it keeps up that record of scoring in every home game this year. So I'm quite happy with that. Every home Premier League game, that is. And then we had more than one chance to win. In fact, I think I counted 3 at least, right? There was a Ben Rama incident where he was on the right-hand side of the goal. He flicked it over Pope, and from where I was standing, he just had to slot it into an empty net, but the defender took the ball off him. He'd done all the hard work, but couldn't quite finish off. The other one, the second one, was Antonio, who he was through and he hit a powerful shot which was going a good 6 inches over the bar from where I was standing, which is right behind that goal. Pope, he got a save on it, but I don't think he had to save it. But then the best chance of the game, the very best chance of the game, was the one in the 86th minute where Jared Bowen has played Antonio through. He's literally got to finish that. Instead, he takes 1 step too many and ends up with Pope right on top of him, making himself big. If he had taken the shot early, Pope would have been scrambling. It would have been a goal. And as David Moyes said after the game, he's got to score that, right? He must score that goal. It's a bad. You can't have a go at Antonio as a person, because he gives it his all. He's not a natural striker. We all know that, and I think the lack of early shot, it shows you he's not a natural striker. A natural striker would have taken a shot early. Would have taken 1 step to. Imagine. Even Bowen. When you look at the third goal the other night, he against Leon, he shot early. He shot before the keeper had a chance to set himself, and he didn't let the keeper get right on top of him. Antonio has to do that yesterday. I'm sure he's feeling fatigue. I'm sure he's not at his freshest. But when these chances come in the Premier League, you really have got to put them away. So, it's not good. What we would give, again, I'm not one to hark back to the January transfer window. I'm really not. But what would have been great would have been to have had another player to throw on at the end there and give Antonio a rest. Anyway, is what it is. There was, I think, on the balance of the game, we could have lost that game, and we easily could have won it as well. So in normal times, I'd take a point all day long. In this scenario, this situation that we're in, a point's not enough. And what it does is it makes it so that we have to take the hard route. We always have to take, as West Ham fans, we always take the hard path, and that's what we're doing. we've got our best chance of qualifying for a prestigious European tournament next year is to win the Europa League. We are 2 one-legged games and a final away from qualifying from the Champions League. That is what we need to go after. That has got to be our priority from here on in. I know people are going to get frustrated when we play a European game, or we're even ahead of a European game where players are seemingly not giving their all because they want to play in the semi-final, or they've just played their heart out in a semi-final and it's the following week. That is going to happen. That's going to happen. It's something, to my mind, we're going to have to put up with, because it is a straight shootout between Europe and the Premier League. And for me, you know, this is the very first time I've seen us in the semi-final of a European competition, because when we last did it in 1976, I was far too young to know what was going on. So this is the first one in my lifetime, and we've got to take these chances. Don't come. I might not get. There might not be another one for another 46 years. So we've got to take these chances. We've got to put all of our chips onto the Europa League, and we've got to go for that. And I don't care if it means resting players. So Diop, he's obviously got that, you know, towards the end there, what looked like a serious injury. Hopefully it's just a dead leg, because if it was a knee injury, which is what it looked like, hopefully he would have been taken off. So for me, it can't be a knee injury. But if it, you know, if he is feeling an injury of any kind, we got Chelsea at the weekend. We've got Frankfurt next Thursday. I would give Frankfurt the priority. So I would, if there's anything wrong with Diop whatsoever, if he's feeling his knee, if he's feeling his leg, you got to rest him. You got to rest him. We don't know what's happening to Zuma yet. We cannot be down to our last defender in Craig Dawson. I mean, Craig Dawson's good, but he can't do it. He ain't that good. He can't do it all himself. I wouldn't rule it out, actually. Yeah. So look, it was, that is the choice. We've got the choice: Premier League or Europa League. We can't do both. We're not in a situation. We don't have a huge squad to allow us to do both. We ain't in a luxury position like Liverpool or Chelsea or all the others who've got the big squads and they can rotate. Now, I know part of it's self-inflicted, right? But we're not in that position, and we need to face up to that. So give you a choice. Let me know in the comments what you think. Prioritise Europe or prioritise the Premier League? For me, it is Europe all day long. So there you go. That's our video. Please join Nick and John tomorrow for the daily news, and they'll be having some interesting stuff to discuss. Until then, see you soon, and come on, you irons.